man! Are you okay, son? Who did this to you?
Why does this man hold him like this? This man wants to protect him. He loves him. He would do anything for him.
Talk to me, son. What's wrong?
He is his father. His father, not mine.
Get away.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another GospelX, the Gospel According to the X-Men. My name is Jonathan. This is Henry. So glad that you can join us today as we continue our series of looking through the 1990s X-Men animated series and offer you, the audience, how we see we can incorporate gospel values or any gospel elements from the X-Men series. Today, we are going to do we're going to cover the two-part series entitled Proteus, which is in, I can't remember what season, but who cares? Proteus,
season four,
episode 1 and 2. And we just showed you this clip. And just before we started, Henry, why did we choose this clip and what's going on?
Well, just to give a quick synopsis of the two episodes that we're going to be covering, Proteus, he's kind of been locked away by his mother in kind of like a laboratory because he's just too powerful.
So, and then she zaps him, like completely
he can literally change the fundamental reality of the world just by thinking about it. And then it's this one scene where it's like, that's like the most terrifying power that you could ever put in the hands of a teenager who could just change and shape reality. He breaks out of the lab. He's had enough. He goes out in the world and he is able to possess this kid who, and he's trying to understand all these new kind of emotions and things that are going on and questions about why people are treating other people this way. You know, this kid is running away from some bullies who are trying to hurt him. And then he encounters this man who's trying to protect him, who loves him, who would do anything for him.
And hugs him.
And hugs him. And that's literally the first time that he's ever had that type of figure hug him in that way. And behold, he recognizes that this is the boy's father who is there for him, accepts him, loves him for who he is. And he looks at his own life. He looks at himself and he says, how come I don't have that? How come I don't have a figure like that?
Which is interesting because before, like what you said about the lab, like this episode already gave us a glimpse of how his life has been. Like his life has always been locked up in a lab, and that his mother never had a physical encounter with him. It's always been just locked him in a lab, getting zapped by lasers. And then this is the first time that he ever had any physical contact with someone, or even some emotional connection, right, with someone. So it's really interesting that, and then he ends up, like you said, he wants it, he desires it, right? And
he goes through about the whole 2 episodes rampaging, trying to find his father. And just Xavier is trying to go and give him what he needs, to be that surrogate father for him. And
but it's interesting too, right? In the second part episode, is that Xavier asked him, do you really want this? And then that want this was actually to be loved. It wasn't actually really a father that he's looking for. It was actually to be loved, right? On the second part of the second episode, when he asked him this.
And that's a definition that we were talking about before, being loved. It's actually a definition called a term called dignity. That's what that dignity is being loved and being able to accept yourself because someone else is able to accept you, being able to love yourself because someone else is able to love you first.
Exactly. Yeah. It's like Kevin, who's the character, he's been looking for it for so long. And because he's been looking for so long, he doesn't even know who he is, right? So he kept on going around like we were talking about self-worth. He felt like there was no worth in him. He was just this monster, and then this one went by, and then Xavier, first of all, they thought that he was looking for dad, which, the whole 2 episodes, obviously, like that's what the whole trajectory was. But underlying, it was interesting, is that Xavier then finally realized that no, Kevin actually wants to be loved. That's his ultimate desire, right? It didn't matter whether it would be a father figure or whatever. Or it could be like you and I said, it could be Xavier himself that could have, offered that love to him, which Xavier did, right? And then, so that's when Kevin realized who he was, or the start of that process of dignity, right? Of feeling valued, feeling self-worth because he was loved.
Because like if we look at it, he literally didn't feel that. He basically, if you don't have that dignity, that value, that self-worth, there's kind of like an emptiness and you're trying to fill it. You're trying to go and find it. You're trying to go and trying to figure out, and you'll lash out. And just like what Kevin did, he just lashed out in his anger at not being able to understand why people were trying to keep him away from his father.
Yeah. All right. So to offer to now segue to the Christian element of it, the gospel element, it's interesting because we were just talking about how the world defines dignity, and it's just merely metaphors, right? It's like self-worth, respect,
self-esteem, self-respect,
right, and value. But how do you get that, right? And so dignity, okay, by definition, like if you just take it out of the dictionary, your question will be, for those listeners out there and watching, those who are watching, okay, how do we get that? How do we get our self-worth? How do we get our blah, blah, blah? And so interesting enough, for the Christian side of things, and for those who are listening who are Christian, you may not know this, or you may already know this, that in the Christian definition for dignity is actually to be loved by God and to experience that same love from human beings. That there are human beings out there that can love you the same way as God loves you. Right? And because God died for you, and so therefore you have that self-worth. But who else out there that would sacrifice their time, energy, and effort for you to say that you are worth it, that you are accepted, or who you are, and you're worth dying for, or you're worth at least your time and effort and energy? That's dignity. That's how you feel dignified, right? In that regard. And so, and I think the X-Men got it right to the point, hit it right on target with these 2 episodes of Proteus. Like Kevin was looking for dignity. Kevin was looking for self-worth, and how he got it was actually through Xavier reaching out to him to accept him and love him, and actually sacrifice his body for him, like Xavier did, right? He let Kevin enter into his own body for it. And so, which is interesting. A lot of allusions to the Christian gospel, I think, for these 2 episodes. Anything to add?
I think it's also,
go ahead.
Like a fundamental craving of every person's soul to have that unconditional love.
Oh yeah, or at least to know that I'm being loved and that I am worth loving, worth to be loved, right? And so I think Kevin saw that and experienced that through Xavier, and hence they were lovey-dovey and huggy at the end of the
at the end of the episode.
At the end of the episode, yeah.
After all the rampaging and
I know, and then poor Wolverine. That's a whole nother topic altogether.
Could have gone through the Wolverine PTSD thing, but
I know, no kidding, eh? So anything else to add from you, Henry?
Nope, that's pretty much it.
All right. Thank you so much again for joining us in another GospelX, the Gospel According to the X. My name is Jonathan again. This is Henry. So glad you can join us. Hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, just send us an email or a message through the website. The website's going to come up right after this. But till next time, have a wonderful week.